you believe it? It's that time again already? Nuts. It's happening tonight. This is it. I've had enough. Personally, I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna finish him. I'm not stopping until he's done. That is the goal. We're gonna finish this guy tonight. No excuses. Don't let me make one. Spend less time running my mouth and more time getting right into the painting. Just these just a little bit really quickly. Alright. All we have left, we have the black. I'm going to do some hazard stripe symbols and everything like that around some of the cables that he's got going on too, like the one on his power sword. Then we're going to finish the metallics, and we'll go into painting the special effects like the plasma gun and the power sword. Then we will varnish him. We're going to varnish him, give him a nice coat. He's done, and that's all. And the base too. We can do a quick, crappy little job on the base. That'll be fine. As for painting blacks here, I'm going to strip them apart really quickly. Still had them assembled from the previous stream. Everybody get a good look at them. Pop that power fist off. Everything looks so good though. Okay. Do our blacks. This has been base coated with AK Interactives black, which is more like a blue, kind of grayish kind of tone to it. We'll be doing a chunky highlight of Corvus black on all of our black surfaces, as I find it. I can tell you with certainty that it doesn't matter how you organize or put your paints away. No amount of fancy display, setups. It's going pretty good. Welcome back to the bench. I see now, actually, that you're on YouTube. I don't know if you ever sent me a message or found me on Discord. How did your known oil settle out on your Terminators? Corvus here, good mix. Drop that on the palette. There's not a whole lot of black details on them, so this should be a relatively quick step. I'm not sure just how much of a delay there is on my talking. They were Terminators, weren't they? I thought they were Terminators that you were talking about. See how this is going to work. I don't think it is. I think I got a whole lot of the acrylic in the cap. That should be alright. Just gonna separate them on second thought. Here we go. Be nice and chunky with this. Along the rim. edges here nice and sharp. Oh. Alright, well, you know, it's alright. If it ever is, like, incredibly bad or anything, you just can't stand to look at it or can't really figure out how to fix it, then you can always strip the model and start back over. So I've always tested out new techniques and different ways of painting, and sometimes paints themselves on cheap little models from like Dollar General, or some people might even suggest using the sprue as well. Willing to go through the trouble of taking it out and priming it. But hey, you know, there's only one way to get better. Give it a shot. Find out, see what happens. Trying to be just a little quick with this too. And I'm not going to end the stream until he is done, but that does not mean that I want to be here all night. When doing highlighting on areas that do not have defined sharp edges, like this cable right here, just try to imagine the direction that the light will be coming from, and I paint according to that. So we're going to do a nice, big, healthy blob just like that. Alright, clean our brush out real quick. Okay, there you go. Keep them. As some people refer to it as the grimdark style. Like, fully weathered and super dark. The Hernkin. I had an idea going for a while with my Votann army. I wanted really bad because they really made me think of like StarCraft Marines, and I loved the color scheme from Sons of Gorhal, the whole red, you know, primary color with the black accents and their iconography and everything like that. I wanted to do that for my Hearthkin. I think I started to do. I don't remember if I finished it. I don't think I finished it, but I know I started to paint the guy with the hammer, like the Einherjar champion or something like that. However you pronounce it, probably getting it all wrong. But I painted him up like that, and he looked pretty good. They had the gold on it too. That was some good stuff. I had some fun painting the Votann. They had just enough surface area to give them, you know, like enough detail on it to make it interesting to paint them, but not so much so that you're like feel like you're sitting there forever trying to paint this one model. It was a nice little touch. Looking for my drill bit. Here we go. I'm gonna do the plasma gun, the plasma pistols trim now. Again, this is the thick edge highlight of the Corvus Black, so we're really just gonna blob it on there. Try to respect as much of the other base coats as we can. Fortunately, it's all metallics, so if we have to, we can just go back over and retouch up all the metallics. Now, I was considering breaking out the airbrush for this, but I can't think of a reasonable way to really work that into my stream setup, so I'm just not going to do it at all. Instead, I'm going to do some OSL by hand, by brush. Which can be done, it can be done. I don't think it looks as good as it could when using something like an airbrush, but you know, your mileage may vary. It's good enough for what it is. He's just a cheap little guard character. Trying very hard not to paint over all the black surfaces, but it's difficult. Spot back there, covering up that silver. Right. We are going to paint over the cable too. Usually I'll do this kind of stuff in silver first. I'm sorry, in yellow first, and then paint the black over the black stripe portion of it. But kind of got ahead of myself here, so we're going to highlight and do all the black stuff first. Then we'll come back with the Ireland Sunset and Imperial Yellow and what other colors it is that I use for that, and we'll do the hazard stripes after the fact. Forgot his gloves. Can't forget the digits. Such a tiny and small area. We're not going to be going through the same detail and highlighting as we would if it were a larger one. So, onto the chain sword. This also has another one of the cables that I'm going to be doing the hazard striping on, so we're just going to paint right down the way with it. Highlight that glove. Each of the little knuckles and the fingers. Bolt pistol. OSL is object source lighting. So, like, think of like a lamp in a dark room. The light that the lamp projects would be the light, and the object, the source of the light, being the lamp. So you would try to, if you wanted to recreate the effect of the light glowing, like say you had to paint that lamp on something, there's a multitude of different techniques to try to achieve the appearance, but you're essentially trying to make it look like the object is actually glowing. This is usually done by painting the surrounding area with a thin down or some variation of the same color that was used to create the glow in the first place, and it makes it look like it's glowing. Unless you want to go through the trouble of installing LEDs into your miniature, go right on ahead, but for those of us that don't have that kind of time, trying to paint the effect of the light glowing. That's referred to as OSL. Like I said, I usually use a airbrush for that when I have the setup and the time for it, but I don't currently have those means. I do have examples of it. I could show you an example of OSL that I have done in the past. Finish this last bit of edge highlighting here, and I'll pull one out for you. I painted a Sister of Battle. Whatchamacalls them, ladies. I can't remember what they're called. They're like their leaders, like their version of a captain. I think it's a sacrosanct. That doesn't sound right. I don't remember what they're called. but I painted one. She's got a torch and a plasma pistol. Give me just 1 second, I'll find her. Hello, Stangosh. Stangosh? Did you say you painted a viper? Isn't that... It's Eldar, isn't it? Ugh. I don't know, there were knife ears in my chat. Have that. I'm just kidding. I got a friend that comes over often. He's usually playing some form of Eldar. Maybe that is the birth of my prejudice. I should really pull all these models down and actually take photos of the ones that are finished. Start posting them to all the social media and everything. I don't think I actually have any photos of some of this stuff online. What am I doing? A superior... I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up though, it's bothering me. But this is an example of OSL. So you can see the candles on the base. Obviously they're not, you know... Hold on. There we go. Hello. For the blind, that lip read. Or deaf, that lip read. Good Lord help me, I can't do nothing for myself. So, you know, the candles, obviously, they're not real, they're not glowing, but I painted it to make it look like they are. So they cast shadows, they brighten up the area around them, like you can see along the inside of her dress and just around the edge of it, that it's supposed to look like it's lit. Okay. Well, everybody starts somewhere. That's how it all begins. Just make sure you paint your stuff before you buy more. Don't fall into the trap. You will anyway, but it makes me feel better telling people and warning them. The plasma pistol too. This was done with an airbrush, a little bit of OSL on the plasma pistol to make it look more like it's glowing. You can also just faintly see on the pistol too the glow of the handle reflecting off of it. As it's a metallic surface, you'll be able to see bright lights and things like that bouncing off of them. So it's painting the area surrounding an object to make it look like it is emitting light. It's very challenging, but if you get it right, it looks really good. Then this is the Einherjar champion I was painting. That's what he's probably got a little bit of dust on him. But this was done in the style of the Sons of Korhal. I think I got pretty close to finished with him. It was a very easy paint scheme that produced a really good looking result. I think I got to his head. I stopped at his head, and there were a couple of other small details too that I just didn't get around to painting. But I did get the chance to play him a couple of times. He's a lot of fun. This guy, when they first came out, he was doing so much melee damage. It was obscene. Terrifying. True terror. Yeah, well. Follow your heart. Get more Warhammer. Build a pile of pride. It's not a pile of shame, it's a pile of possibility. Pile of potential. There you go. Good. So we got the back on track. Put that stuff to the side. They look so pretty. I get like imposter syndrome looking at it sometimes. We got the chunky highlight down on the black. That was the Corvus black. So now we're going to do a thinner highlight with the Mechanicus standard gray. This is going to stick out a little bit more than the Corvus black did. The idea is to create this transition, the smooth gradient up towards the higher bright highlights. Like, I almost wouldn't even paint black if something were supposed to be black. When base coat it that way. Like if I did Black Templar, which could be next, you know, who knows. I wouldn't start with black. I would start with a very dark gray. That way I can still shade with black and work my way up the highlights. I can get more. You can get more depth out of it that way. It's not such a hard, concrete thing, and they collect dust better when you don't use straight black on models. You know, makes it a little harder to see that there's dust on it. Kind of like getting like a black, like a white car. You can see all the dirt and everything on it. Don't paint black models. Okay. This is our Mechanica Standard Gray. I forgot that he has some black on his cheek plate too. We're just going to paint this inside of the Corvus black that we did earlier. Don't want to go too crazy with it. We do still have a couple of layers of highlights to do. So you don't want to paint too small, and you don't want to completely cover up what we did previously. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm glad to hear that you're making a decent amount of hobby progress, no matter what it is you're painting. A bunch of filthy 9 years. It's always good to paint. I do enjoy a good hobby. Painted models are always better than unpainted ones. It is sometimes a bit difficult for me to keep up with the meta, as I am a competitive player as well. I hate having to field unpainted models, but I take that 10-point hit. I pay for it. Plasma gun. Just a little bit more conservative with our highlighting. Doing a little bit of the shake right now. Going through breathing exercises while I'm doing this. Hold your breath. I find it helps stimulate the shake a little bit. Gloves. Again, we don't want to cover up what we painted previously, we just want to paint inside of it. As best you can. I mean, these little details like the fingers and everything, that's probably going to be near impossible, but you could do it with great effort. Just going to go right down the front. Just like that. Slow and steady. Fingers and the glove. Get our little dots on the knuckles right there. Perfect. Our bolt gun. Get that paint wet on the brush. One, two, three, four fingers. And paint inside. As you can see, now you can kind of visually separate all the fingers from each other. Back, then we have pointing hand. Paint some of the upper area of that too, on top of the hand itself. Give our brush a nice good clean. Wish I could get a better view of the super tiny pieces I'm painting right now, but struggling real hard it seems. Not my hand, his hand. The last is the bolt gun. Just on the gloves. Alright. And that is a really nice looking bolt gun, I will say. Alright. Okay, we're good on that layer of black. Now we're going to get even thinner again. We've got two more to go. This is going to just be getting done with Administratum Gray. We just got done with Mechanica Standard. And we'll be doing Administratum, which is very much a very gray color. Yep. A lot more white, almost. After we're done with the Administratum Gray, we're going to mix it just a little bit with some AK Interactive White. And that's going to be for our dot highlights. So we're just going to get like his knuckles, tips of the fingers. We're not going to, like, we can just do a couple little ding ding ding, little dot ticks around the corners of some of our wires and our cables that we're doing here. And on the plasma gun 2, we can do little dots on some of the corners on the upper sides of the pistol looking down. I'd be very, very conservative with it. We're probably going to be covering up some of it with the plasma pistol glow anyway, but it helps to have that there regardless. It just looks better. It's always good to practice. The only downside of these dropper bottles, sometimes the dropper tip will dry with paint into the lid, so you have to kind of really be careful to work it out. So we've come quite a ways so far. Here's our rag. All the different paints that we've used. Whew. Alright, make sure that brush is clean. This is going to be our thin final edge highlight. Very thin here. This will be done with the edge of the brush anywhere possible. Bottom of our shoes. At our angle here. Now we can paint directly on. Very thin line. Make sure we're not getting tip dry. Just going right down the center of what we highlighted previously. Hopefully he doesn't fall off whatever you're trying to pin him to while you're painting. Okay. Our highlight here. Just go right down the center. Good job. Plasma pistol. It should be very easy to do this on. Just want to use the edge of our brush. Nice and slow. Turn it over. Keep the brush wet. Just keep on cranking around. Get our glove. Brush a nice good rinse. Paint starting to dry in it. Oh, good heavens. Uno momento. All right. Put the plasma pistol away. Over to our chain, our power sword. Just another super thin line right down the center of the cable. Chain sword. Bolt pistol glove. Pointing fingers. Bit of a blob down there on the palm. And the glove on the bolt gun. Fingers on the inside. Put it down. I'm going to mix just a little bit of white into this Administratum Gray, and we will quickly do some small dot highlights on this guy. He does have like a black neck kind of thing going on, but a black collar. Not too concerned about it. It's such a small detail, and it's so solid around his neck, there's no real edges for me to paint there to begin with. I think it does a good bit of work separating his head from the rest of his body too, so we're just going to leave it there. We're not going to muddle the detail. Mix up the interactive white. This thing does not like to just lightly dab, it just completely dumps paint every time I try to get just a little bit of it on something. Thank you, AK. Just a nice little mix here on the palette. We want a little bit of a brighter gray. Which I believe I have achieved, so here we go. This is just going to be little dots in the corners. Let's do one right here, right there. Dots there. Do a couple down here. And up on top here where it bends. Some of these corners of our plasma gun. Just on the raised areas towards the top. Our knuckles, tips of our fingers, power sword, with some dots. Fight the tip dry. Chain sword. Dot on the knuckle. bolt pistol glove. Here is pointed hand once again. And then finally is the bolt gun. All right. We're done with the black. Look at that. That was relatively painless, wasn't it? Adjust my light a little bit, get it out of my way. All right. Done with our black. We can go on to, I think we're going to do the yellow next, is the next color. We'll do our hazard stripes that we're going to have on some of our cable. Notably the power sword and the chain sword cables. Everything else is going to be just the way that it is. And we'll move into our metallics after that. So, for yellow, see if I have it pulled up already. I don't. I know we're going to base with Averland Sunset first, so I will start there. Sure, nice, good. Good mix here. Alright, we're probably going to need a good couple of coats of this yellow to get this to adhere over the black. I think it's not too bad to lay the yellow on just a little bit thick. But you don't want to overdo it. Yellow is already pretty thick as it is, this being Averland Sunset. Yep. So, we're going to do the power sword first, and I'll pick one side of it and I'll just paint the hazard stripes the best I can all the way around it, and then I'll turn it over and try to carry them over the rest of the way. So we're just going to kind of block them out in a big way without turning the model in my hand. So that looks good. They're pretty decent spacing on them there. You can always clean it up with the black after the fact, of course. So now we're going to turn them around, or at least slightly to the side, and we're going to continue to paint the strip down. And we're only really kind of doing like quarter turns here. That way we can still see the angle that we painted previously. And the idea is, yeah, if you did it right, by the time you make it all the way around the cable, you're meeting up with what you've painted previously. Alright. There's our hazard stripes. Gotta clean it up just a little bit with the black. We'll do our highlighting and everything first. Actually, we will put that to the side. Drop it down here. And we can do the chainsword next. Since it has a cable, I would like to do that too as well. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. No little tricks when doing one that's all twisted up like this. You're just going to have a good eye. Kind of have to have a good eye. Alright. Our base coat yellow for the hazard stripes is looking pretty good. Set that to the side, just down underneath here too, so we can see both of them. And we will get our highlight color. We're not going to do a whole lot for the yellow. I think we're only going to really do one highlight. We'll paint the edges. You scroll to find it. Where are you, yellow? I think it's probably the same exact thing that we did earlier. It is. So this is going to be Wraithbone. It's going to be our edge highlight for these. I think I have a little bit of it on the palette, but I don't think I have enough to do what I want to do with it, so... just a little dot there. Close that bad boy back up. And here we go with the Wraith Bone. We're going to paint this on either side. Both sides of the hazard striping here. Where the yellow meets the black. I am also doing this on Twitch and Kick all at the same time. We're going to go back and we're going to clean that up with the black, and that'll really sharpen those lines back up. They're a little blurry right now. It's okay. This Wraith Bone we're using right now is just finalizing the outside of the yellow. So we're going to be painting the black up to the Wraith Bone. Okay. Now we will go back and clean up with our black. I'm just going to skip. Not going to do the Administratum Gray. We're not doing the straight black, so we're going to be doing the Mechanica Standard. Is what we're going to try to clean this up with. Power Sword. Paint in our Mechanicus. Pretty good on this side. And then finally, we take the actual black, the AK Interactive black, and we're going to paint that right down the center of the black portions. Right? That's the Corvus black. Actually, we'll do the Corvus black for this. I'm going to go right down the middle. Free time. I paint all my pretty colors. Like a nail salon artist. Right down the middle. You want just the toothbrush. Bring back some of that depth to the cable. I feel like I may have overdone the yellow on some of this, but it's okay. Not really too concerned about it. Gonna look good. That's our hazard striping on our cables. So I push it just out out of the shot. There we go. Give the whole model one more look over. Make sure there's nothing else that is not metallic before I start putting metallic paints. Actually think maybe I can do the plasma gun before I switch over to metallics. Metallics aren't going to take very long at all. I think gold might be the most complicated of it, and it's only like maybe 3 colors. So let me pull up my plasma notes and see how I do that again. Thank you for hanging out with me while I do all of this. I appreciate you. OSL plasma. So, I'm going to, I already have it painted white. I'm gonna I would be airbrushing, but in this case I'm not. I'm going to be using the contrast paint Aethermatic Blue, which I should have around somewhere. I think maybe my Aethermatic actually dried up. No, it didn't. Here it is. We're going to apply the Aethermatic Blue to it. Then we're going to thin down some white paints a lot. Like really make it runny, almost like an ink consistency. And we're going to let that run into the recesses of the coils. It's going to bring back that brightness down in the coils. We're going to mix Green Stuff World's Fluor Green with Lotharn Blue in a 1-to-1 and paint it on the top of the coils, but the recesses of it. So not the top of the coils, obviously like the top where, like how it bends. I'm going to paint into the bottoms, or the very tops of it, the furthest from the heat, because it's going to kind of dull it a little bit. Not very good at describing that. You'll see. You'll see. We're going to be a little lazy with the Aethermatic Blue too. We're going to paint it with some of the surrounding area. Ooh, open up. This is Aethermatic Blue over AK Interactive's white. I want to make sure that we don't get any pooling. We don't want it. And we're going to just go around outside. This is where the light is going to kind of look like it's glowing. We're just tinting it blue. Get inside our little coils here too. Drop too much paint in there. Thumb some of it out. Oh, I am totally off frame. No, that was not on purpose. There we go. This is just Aethermatic Blue over our AK Interactive white. Thank you for letting me know. I sometimes, I'm victim of kind of drawing it closer to my chest so I can really concentrate and focus on what it is I'm doing. And we have the actual tip of the plasma gun that we will be doing all of this to as well. So that is just aethermatic blue. Close that back up. Try to get the camera to actually focus on it so you can see. There we go. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us here on the Crimson Bench. Look at that. That really looks pretty good. Normally this would be enough for some people. They'd stop here, but I don't. I'm crazy. We are doing the heavy metal studio style here, so we're going to keep on going. I am going to hit it very briefly with my my miniature hair dryer so we can get this thing going. We haven't got all night. I don't have all night. I would like to get this done before it gets too late, and I'm not stopping until I am, so bear with me. Hopefully you can't hear it. I would suggest getting a miniature hair dryer too, and I don't mean miniature as in specifically for miniatures, but one of the small portable travel size hair dryers that has a no heat setting on it. It has been invaluable in decreasing my times. Alright, should be good. Now, if you notice when I applied that aethermatic blue, it is a contrast paint, but I did not blob it on like you usually would for something like this. I controlled my paint and I used it more as a tint to the white that was already underneath of it. So it's kept the blue, it has the blue of the aethermatic, but it kept the white and the brightness underneath. You can play with that a lot. Like that's kind of the basis of the entire painting technique. What's it called? Slap chopping, where you prime and black, white, gray, whatever, and you just apply thin, very thin glazes of paints over it, like contrast paints, and it will keep the depth of what you've already done with your blacks, whites, and grays, but just apply the color like a tone over top of it. So we've got that. Now we're going to, what's next? We are going to take Frostheart now, another contrast paint, and we're going to do this on the very outside of this halo that we've created with the plasma. You can just kind of make out how there's a slight blue tint around the edges of where the coils are. So we're going to be taking our Frostheart and going just on the outside of that. So that's what's going to be the edge of this. We're going to make sure that it's nice and thin. We don't want to play it thick. It's just like what we did for the aethermatic blue. We don't want to paint over it. We just want to tint it with this color of blue. I hope we're all still following along. If there's anything you don't understand or you want to know more about, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to explain what's going on. This is not as bright as aethermatic, as you can see. This is a darker blue. This is going to dull the edge of our glow here, make it look a little bit more natural. So, just going to paint it very thinly along the outside. It might help if I take everything else out of focus. Hold on. Get out the way. Still in the picture. Still there. Whatever. It don't matter. Here we go. This is on the outside of our glowing halo. Should we go a bit tip dry? Notice I'm getting it on the silver there too. That's going to help create the glow effect that we're trying to achieve. We're using these contrast paints again because they tint, they do not paint over. Get it down here too. We just kind of want to go around the outside. Scratch that. I don't like the way that looks. We'll be already done a little bit, so we may as well commit. We're going to thin it just a small amount. If we don't like the way it looks, of course, we can just clean it up after the fact. That's why I save the metallics for last. So I can just pick up whatever mess it is that I'm making on the model right now. We're going to go around the outside. I guess we'll be coming back with some white later, and we're going to be doing some dots of white in different locations. Alright. That was Frostheart Blue. I'm going to take some of my AK Interactive White, already got on my palette. I'm going to thin it down a lot. We want this thing to run. Show you the consistency on my fingernail once I get it where I want it. If you have oil paints, if you have white oils that you can do with this, even better. I do not, so I make do. You can go just a little further than that. Thinner. Here we go. Okay. You had to kind of be just a little bit careful. Or you know what? Just spread it all over it. We just want this on the coils. Oh, God. Alright, unfortunately I pretty much did just paint all over it completely white, but that's okay. That's alright. It's not necessarily what I wanted. We're going to go in and we're going to put even more white at the base of our coils. As this is where it is going to be hottest. It is simply a coat of lead belcher and nothing more. that is on the tip of the plasma. Wish I could. Here we go. That looks a little bit better. It's a little messy, but we are still going to clean it up with some silver after the fact. All right. We got our white down and our coils. Then we're going to mix our green stuff world fluor green with Lotharn blue 1-to-1. Have that box around here somewhere. Have to get up and get it. Actually, don't mess with the fluors very often. Give me 1 second. Got it in one of these containers. Here we are. So the fluor paints, they're very interesting. They're very thin, but thick at the same time. It's kind of hard to describe what exactly it is that's going on with these things. There's fluorescent lime. It's yellow, so we'll go with the yellow. I'm sorry, the lime. You know, believe it or not, it's really not like too difficult to get a nice clean highlight on this kind of stuff. Everyone's like, oh, you know, you shake too much, you can't steady, whatever. I've had so much caffeine today, I'm like constantly vibrating. The key is to just make a solid base for yourself and for your arms and your hands. So if you have both of your elbows down, you're sitting up straight, you bring your hands together, and you're holding the model at the same time that you're holding the brush. And if you have something that you can steady it against too, like I have some painting handles like this one right here. If I have to do like super fine details, like I'm painting like eyes and I really want it to look really good, I'll find a way to stick it on this, and you can hold it like that with one hand, and you can steady your brush against it. And with at least two points of contact, 3 points of contact with the miniature and holding it, you don't shake. You can get really smooth with all of it. And with a little bit of breathing control and some practice, then you can do some super precise stuff. So it's not too difficult. Anybody can do it. The patience to be able to do it is what I find most people don't have. It takes a lot to have to sit and want to do something like that. But then again, I guess if everybody did it, then what would be the point in watching me? Mixing up my green stuff, World Fluor Green here. It is a little bit of a brilliant color. I find that on camera, it always looks a lot better, a lot brighter. You're very welcome. I'm a font of knowledge. Ask anything. I am here for you. There's my Baharoth blue. There's a couple of different ways that I do my plasma. This is technically the airbrush paints that I'm using right now. I usually be airbrushing a lot of this stuff in different stages, but I say I don't want to bust it out right now. Trying to do as much as I can without having to bring the airbrush out. And I think I'm doing pretty good with that. So all right. Draw some of the Lotharn from the pot. And bring it to the wet palette. Don't need an incredible amount. Blue is my favorite color, so it's always a treat to paint plasma. Uh-oh. Oh no. Stick with me. I think I managed to get some paint to dry in the tip. There we we go. All right. Pull those out of my way. Give this a nice mix. This is giving us a kind of like teal turquoise color. We're getting the blue from the Lothern and getting the Fleur effect from the green. The Lothern is going to kind of dull it down just a little bit, but we'll still get it. We're getting exactly what we want right now, so. I'll be painting this on the top recesses of the coils. So make sure I'm doing this correctly. Try to understand my notes from before. Top recesses of the coils. So, okay, so I'm going to be painting this on the coils. Very difficult, very hard to see. Be very careful. Find it easiest to almost hit it at an angle because it is still a raised surface. So you can just get it with the side of the brush when you're painting tops of coils like this. Be careful not to push down too hard because if you do, you'll end up getting into the recess of the coil and you'll have to go back and redo the white again. We're currently painting the tops of the coils of our plasma gun here. See if we have that nice teal. And it looks so bright already. It's only going to get brighter. We ain't done yet. We're going to mix Temple Guard Blue with some kind of turquoise. Temple Guard Blue. Ooh! Just throwing paint all over the place. Look at me go. Turquoise am I looking for right now? Algar, Nocturne, Aldorf, Dark Reaper, Thunderhawk, Cantor. Tegadon? Pterodon? Archaic Turquoise. Hold on one moment. Bear with me. Archaic turquoise. It's an AK color. That would explain why I couldn't find it. I have it hiding somewhere. I think that's part of a set. Hold on again. I have so many hidden paints all scattered around the room. It is. Alright, this is the blue essential color set from AK Interactive. This is the archaic turquoise that is going to be getting mixed with our Temple Guard blue. We're crazy here in the bench. We're mixing color brands and colors in general. We have no control over ourselves. We're off the rocker right now. Ooh, feel that dust in my mouth. Alright, mix these up. This is going to be painted again on the top of the coils, but it's just going to be on the top of the pistol itself. So we're not going to go deep over anything. We're staying just in the top. That'll be the coolest part of the plasma pistol. We really want that to show through. I mean, this is way easier to paint on things like a Redemptor plasma gun, or some of the tanks, for example. I've done one of my tanks before, previously. I think I did red. Oh, no, I did blue plasma with that one too. That came out amazing because the coils are so big. You can really focus on the detail and paints it all. When you get a nice, good shot of that, holy crap. Want to talk about glowing stuff? I don't know where that is right now. I have that tucked away somewhere. I think it was part of my crusade earlier this year. I gotta find him again, but when I do, I'll have to bring him out on stream and we can take a look at him. He had some incredibly brilliant colors on him. I had a lot of fun. Alright. It's the archaic turquoise going on the wet palette. And of course there are many different blues and colors that you can use, do as you please, but this is where I have found myself at after trying out a bunch of different colors myself. This just so happens to be what I think looks the best for me, pleases my eyes. Follow your heart, follow your dreams. Can't source the paint, get something close. There's plenty of conversion charts online from different paint brands. You can at least get a close approximation. Mixing them all up on the palette right now. Temple Guard Blue is very strong, very potent color. We want the archaic turquoise, just kind of bring it down a little bit. See what it is we have going on here on the brush. I'm gonna clean that one off. We're not using that one. We'll be going back to the Kolinsky Sable number 2, so that we make sure that we're just painting the tops of these coils. I was a little aggressive when I cleaned up the mold lines on this model, so these coils don't really have much of a raised surface to work with, so I'm just going to be very carefully trying to paint directly onto the model to get what it is that I'm looking for. Okay. Make sure we're at a nice fine tip. steady our hands. We're rested against the table. We're holding it in both of our hands. And I'm holding my brush against my other finger right here. And we're going to just take our time and breathe slowly. Okay. We'll take the fluid green and the Lothron blue that we had earlier. This will be the last that we do. And we're going to highlight around the edges of the coil with that Lothron green, the fluid green, and the Lothron blue. This is just an edge highlight. These edges of done with our plasma glow. Hello, Lyashev. I hope I got that right. Not a whole lot is up. We are nearing the end of our Cadian Castellan. It's being painted in the Games Workshop studio style. Take a quick drink real quick. We just finished with the plasma glow. Here we go, maybe this will be a little bit better. Yeah. Finish that up on the pistol just now. So now we're going to go over to our metallics. Now that we've done all the non-metallics. Try to keep that in shot, because I think it looks pretty. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to clean up some of these silvers, and just going to use basic lead belcher for this. Then we're going to apply some Nuln oil to all of it very lightly, and then finally do a little bit of edge highlighting with some storm hose silver. Keep the silvers very, very easy. You don't have to get complicated. You don't have to get complicated with it, you know. Then we will touch up the golds and do the edge highlighting on the golds. We'll do I'll do Reichland Flesh Shade over the Retributor armor. Then we'll go to, I don't remember what gold it is. I've got like 5 different ones. And work our way up until eventually we do some dot highlights of Stormhost Silver on that as well. Then we will varnish him. He will be done. This is the Cadian Castellan. I would show him to you, but he is in pieces. You know what? Actually, I got the box right here. That guy. That's who we're painting. Nearly done. Some lead belcher on my palette. And we're going back to clean up anything that might have gotten mixed over by accident. Okay. Put some of his bits and pieces back. Which I think we might be pretty good on our silver base coats, so we can just go straight into our going only here. That's not true. I do want to clean up the plasma gun just a little bit. Apply a nice thin coat here. And touch up that little ugly spot I made earlier. Go. Oop. This was it. I was not at all happy about this big blob that I put right there. Alright. And before I forget, we're just going to do a big old blob of white right there at the end of the pistol. Oh, thank God you made it. I was so scared. I don't know how I made it this far without you. If you'd like to know the secret to painting a perfect circle, there isn't one. Don't paint a circle. You're right, I did. I hate when that happens, personally. It's the worst thing ever to get paint on my models while I'm painting my fingernails. I'm going to do just a little bit of light assembly to get this guy back in one piece. See what details need to be cleaned up. I've got some metallics all over the place on this guy here. I do need to retouch up the star on his head. Wunderbar. Okay. I feel good about where we are. I bust out the non-oil. It's, you know, there are some things that you can do to get a really nice circle. I mean, like, if you're really crazy about it, you can get, like, a stencil with circles on it, and you kind of have to like fold it into the stencil, whatever. But it's just a constant back and forth of like cleaning it up and cleaning it up. If you want an actual like serious kind of technique to get it done, paint a cross first, a thin cross, and then close the ends of it so you make like a diamond, and then just kind of very carefully smooth out the ends of the diamonds, and you can get really close to getting a circle doing that, a perfect circle. Then afterwards, the rest is just cleaning it up. But I'm not worried about it on this plasma pistol. It's way easier to do it on other things that don't require like 7 layers of paint in order to get the effect that you're painting over. I'll be applying this Nona oil with my Clemency Scable number 2. I want to be able to control everything putting onto it. That was almost a disaster. I've never spilled my Nona oil. 9 years. I haven't spilled my Nona oil. Knock on wood. I did just knock the bottle over, but there's not enough Nona oil in it to spill. So it was right next to all the bits and pieces I had on the table. That was almost the end of my life right there. I'm about to end the stream. Okay. Not going to bother with the metallics on the top of the plasma gun that we've already done with the plasma actual effect, so we're just going to paint it down into the other areas. We want to control this too. Don't want to just go overboard with your non-oil wash. Things like that that don't actually have any type of detail to them to get recessed with. Hold on. Not even going to bother. Trust me, I am full of wicked, sick techniques. Stay only for that, not the blunders. Alright. Plasma gun over to the side. I do want to put just a smidgen of Nona oil into the Power Fist fingers. Darken them up just a little bit. Don't want them to be too terribly shiny. And on our knuckles. We've already finished painting our green here, so just be mindful. Okay. Let that dry. There's not enough detail here or on our backpack either for the wash to make any kind of difference. Get our little wrist mounted computer things, whatever these are, power units, who knows. You can see all that detail. We're going to run it all over the fingers too, as he has a robot hand whenever he shows up with a power sword. Wonder why. Setting it down to dry. Plasma pistol down there too, so we can look and see and make sure all of our known oil is drying. Don't want to apply any other layers of paint, so we'll be going back over this with Storm Silver to do some edge highlighting. But you don't want to put any more paint on it till you make absolutely sure that your wash has dried, or you will just end up reactivating it and pushing wash all over the place. Make a real bad mess really quick. It's okay if this really fills in the recesses here. I believe this is supposed to be some type of exhaust port. We don't want it to be too dirty. All off screen. Yeah, he should be. Well, I'm not done until I finish him tonight, but When he is finished, I will be posting some pictures. I'm going to assemble him like loosely at the end so we get a nice good idea of what he's looked like now that he's done. But I will be painting the base off screen because it's relatively easy to do, actually fully assembling him with plastic glue and everything like that. And we'll be taking some actually good photos of him and posting them to the Instagram, the Facebook, the this, the that, you know, and maybe even bring him onto the stream itself in the future if I need to look at him again for some reason. I can show you some of the other stuff I've done too that I've already pulled out to show off tonight. Just going over and explaining what object source lighting is, what it means, and how to achieve it earlier. Are they called superiors? Sister of Battle Captain, for their version of the Captain. Door handle here. Just love putting Nolan oil on. Lead Belcher, all the details just come screaming out. Feels so good. Make sure it's not pulling on any of our flat surfaces though. Go. Hello, Alexa. Welcome to the bench. We're not stopping until we are done, and we are almost done. That does not mean that we have to stop. Still, yeah. Nice even application of my Nolan oil all over this. You're good to go. Look at that, what a difference. Actually not sure how to take it off without without touching the Nolan oil. Oh. Oh. There we go. Gingerly place that down. There we go. And the bolt gun. He does have some silver pieces on his actual torso and body, but they don't have any detail to them, so we're not going to be applying the Nolan oil to it. I do kind of want it to pool down here, that way it gets drawn into the recess, giving it more definition. Where the Nolan oil works for you, do not work for it. Careful not to overload your brush when you use it. You can always apply more. It's way harder to take it off. But not impossible. If you have a secondary brush nearby, or if you're real quick about it, you can just clean off the brush that you have currently and sop up some of the excess that you applied. Right. This is a grimy little bolt gun. You nasty little thing, you. You have the charging handle. Reapply just a little bit more up here. I want it to be a little darker. Remember with the bolt gun. Set that to the side. I don't think there are any more silver details I want to apply this Nolan oil to. There is a little bit of something going on the power sword. but we are going to be painting the crackly blue lightning power sword effect over that anyway, so I'm not going to bother with trying to shade any of it. Null oil away, and we will mix up our Storm Post silver so we can get into our edge highlighting. We will be applying this edge highlighting to the power sword. And pretty much all of the rest of the silver. Let's put this on our palette. Stormhost silver is so bright, so shiny, I love it. It's going to be our dot highlight color for our gold, and our last step at the end too for actually painting the model. Always finish on Stormhost silver. So get the metallic bits in our backpack here. We have an antenna up here. I'm going to put a dot on the top and pick a side and just do a little line down it. There you go. A little bit on the top of the skull here. We have some rivets. We're going to dot on the rivets on camera. Dot right there, dot right there. Just to give it a little bit of a pop. We have some little bits down here too. Good on the backpack. We have some silver here as well as a little hair. Do a little dot here. Probably could have got some known oil down here in this little recessed area, but that's okay. Some on the top of the handle of the sword. Just along the top portion of the silver there as well. And for our power sword, trying not to touch the models too much at this point. We don't want anything flaking off on us. Just going to edge highlight everything from before now that we know that our Castellan oil is nice and dry. Little line down there, and then we will edge all of the fingers. And our brush off real good. Just get all this stuff out of the way. The camera is clearly having a hard time with focusing. Pardon me. Oh, well, if you like the creek, then hang out here, alright? That is my favorite faction. And probably what I'll be painting after this. It'll either be some of my Kriegsmen. I have a demolition squad I'd really like to paint. Or Black Templar. Haven't really decided yet. Thinking I want to do the Krieg again because it's such a simple paint scheme. I can still manage to make them look really, really good. Almost like Studio, but without the 20 different layers of paint upgrades that are needed in order to achieve the really nice look. I do a digicamo pattern on my tanks. And that army, that whole faction, just looks really good with plasma and OSL effects on it too. Have a lot of fun doing that. I'm gonna just paint down the inside of the blade. Like my little swervy squiggle I got going on. I'm not perfect. Not perfect, just kind of really good. Alright. Yep. Power sword is good to go. Get our chain sword now. Brush. You can follow, subscribe, whatever, yada yada. It don't really matter to me, but if you want to be able to see all this stuff in the future, that is the best way to do it. I am still working on putting the Discord server together, but once that is up, you get a lot of posts, you have pictures and everything posted on there. And I'm usually pretty active on Discord too, so any questions or anything like that, I like to answer them. It's just done on this. I'm just going to do a quick run over the teeth. Hey, that's up to you. Not your dad. Follow your heart. I'd really like to get my hands on some of the Horus Heresy Primarchs, give them a nice paint job. Just trying to optimize my painting time because I don't get a lot of it. So I try to paint stuff that I know I'm going to be using on the tabletop. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the bench. Stay a while and listen. We're doing the final finishing touches on our Cadian Castellan that we are painting in the heavy metal studio style. It's going to look just like the box. Or at least that's the goal. We're going to get really close to it. We have the rest of the silver that we're doing our final edge highlight on right now. And the final color, set of colors will be the golds. I have a whole lot of fun with the Krieg. I'd like to have a fully painted Krieg army and a fully painted Sister of Battle army so that I could play them both at the same time and have two of Games Workshop's most incredibly over-detailed model sets fighting alongside one another. Hopefully a couple of people will see it and think that it all looks really cool. And I'll feel pretty good about myself. I do enjoy painting. The bolt gun does not usually come like this as well. I have drilled out the muzzle. Right, put that to the side. I think the only bit that we have left is the bolt gun and the Castellan himself has some small silver details. Want to get all of the belt buckles. Arnone has really dulled out the luster of the silver. He will be. I mean, there's two different ways I usually varnish these kinds of things. At least how I usually go about doing it. If I'm not feeling too particularly patient with it, I'll just throw a satin varnish over it, over the entire model, that is. But, you know, if I want to make it look really good, there's a good mix of metallics and non-metallic colors. I will separate and take the time to paint all of the non-metallics in matte varnish, and then the metallics themselves in a gloss varnish. This allows them to keep their nice, shiny luster while having a nice matte appearance on all of the non-metallics. They visually separate from one another more. I think if you just do the whole thing in gloss varnish, then it just looks like a plastic toy model again. And if you just do the entire thing in matte varnish, then you really dull out the metallics a lot. You will lose all of that luster. Sure, get these good. And we are about done with the silver on our bolt gun here. We'll clean our brush up. Set that to the side, and then we will do the Castellan himself. There's a few small belts, buckles, and little metallic details. Buttons here on his collar, and the rivets on his armor. Small dab of that storm with silver. All right, looking good. Looking good. Some even smaller silver details on his holster and ammo pouch. touch those up really quickly. That fast, super quick, and one little button. And that is it. So we are finished with our silvers, and we are going to move on to our golds. We've been going for 2 hours so far. Good job, everybody. If you're still here, thanks for sticking with me. I did forget one more spot, actually. I do need to do the Power Fist with the Storm with Silver. We can get onto the gold. Down here in these little recessed areas, I'm just going to do little dots. There's not much to edge highlight. We have some rivets. You could do several layers of this, as Stormhost Silver is usually pretty thin, as with any metallic color. Hello, Axeman. Welcome to the stream. You see, that's where I was with my sisters. It was very I was excited to paint them because I saw all the detail and everything on them. And there was just so much there to conquer, and I love the idea of painting them and their color schemes and everything. All the iconography was so awesome. But after I painted my first one, I had 3D printed one to paint as a test. I think I still have her somewhere. I was not happy with it. I was not satisfied with it. I knew I wasn't ready, and I knew that I would come back in the future and I would do them far better. I have the last one that I painted I was showing earlier. This is probably about maybe a year and a half ago that I painted this. This is done with OSL. She's completely magnetized. Every little detail. I even gave her a little bit of makeup, and face is a little nasty looking, but you know, whatever. It's okay. Who's looking? She's a lot of fun. I did Saint Celestine too. I was pretty much done painting her. I did stop eventually because I was starting to lose my mind. I was using transfer decals for the scrolls that she's floating on, and I got through like half of it, like front and back on one scroll, and I got to the second scroll, and I couldn't bear to look at transfer decals anymore. I just totally put that model away and said I'll come back. I painted an Exorcist too. I did a complete Exorcist tank. That model's a beast. Everything edge highlighted on that, magnetized. I love the way that looks. So I wanted my sisters to look really good when I painted them. So now we are truly done with the silver. We can move on to the gold. So let me scroll my notes up. Put my plasma away. Probably end up sharing some of these color schemes and everything online too. Oh, very intimidating. And here we go. So I did not do this. If you wanted to do it like the true GW style, you'll want to base coat your golds with Retributor armor and Stormhost silver. This is mixed 3-to-1, so 3 parts Retributor, 1 part Stormhost silver. And you will shade with Gore Grunta fur. This is a shade, it's not a wash, so you're going to be painting that into the recesses of each of the gold pieces. I am going to be doing that, however. I do already have the Retributor armor based on everything gold. I did not mix it with the Stormhost silver. I Totally forgot about that when I was base coating them to begin with. But that's okay. Mixing up the Gorgonta right now. I'm going to put this on the palette, and I will thin it down just a little bit so I have some... Well, actually, you know what? I don't have to thin it down. It's a contrast paint, so it's pretty much it's about as pre-thinned as it's going to get. I've got all my gold laid out for me, and I will be painting this into the recesses. So I'm just going to blob it all over it. I'm going to be controlling what it is that I am painting here, as it is still a brown color. It's going to want to go over everything. So test it on my nail first. You can see where we're at. Just not a lot of detail on there. Not going to do anything there, but I will get some work going on the Aquila on his chest. So very carefully paint that into the recesses. Very carefully. Because this is a contrast paint, it's going to want to pool. Make sure where you leave your brush off, you're not accidentally leaving a pool of it behind. Like right there, it really wants to deposit on the eye. Okay. Yep. Hey, there's many ways to do gold. I think my absolute favorite gold I've ever used so far, well, because it is a little bit of a pain in the butt to use, is it was an oil paint, Vallejo's Liquid Gold. This stuff right here, holy crap. Holy crap. That's gold. My lord, is that super bright gold. I was not ready for what it did the first time I used it. I decided the extra effort of using the paint, the oil paint, was not worth it though. Uh-oh. Well, contrasts are good for a great many things. This goes for any type of wash. Contrast paint is basically a wash of its own kind. Whenever you're applying a lot of paint to a huge area, there's a lot of crevices, a lot of recesses. Think something organic, like somebody's arm or flesh or face or something like that. You're pretty safe to kind of put it all over the place and it'll settle into the recesses on its own. But when you're doing a large flat area like, the back of the cloak or the armor panels here where there's no definition and it's just one huge flat surface, you want to control it then, because you don't want it to settle on the raised surfaces and you'll have these dark spots all over different parts of the armor that you might not want. So that's why I always try to be very careful and control it. I don't want it to pool into places that I don't want it to. Get it between these leaves here. So I'm hand painting all of the into the recesses instead of letting it completely gloss over all of the gold. It's an incredibly brilliant gold. That gold, I also had another one. I think it's Vallejo's Old Gold. I'd have to track it down again, but I think it is Vallejo's Old Gold. That is also an incredibly brilliant, beautiful gold to paint with. I did some custodies with that. They turned out really, really well. try and tip over our brush here. It's a little hot in here today, so I got my fan running. It's not helping me right now. All right. I think the gold is good there. Where's my drill bit? Do the power fist now. Excuse me. To our wings. Check the chat here in just a second, sorry. Yep. It always struggles with super large flat surfaces. Any wash or contrast or something of that sort. Just thin paints in general have a hard time with large surfaces. Like I know when I do my Space Marines or like large vehicles with huge flat panels and everything on it, I'll either airbrush it, or if that's not an option that you have, then I will find the closest thing that I can to a rattle can version of whatever it is. Like whenever I do my Space Marines, I just use the Macragge blue paint over the entire model when I prime it, and I just make very careful, very sure I don't make any mistakes, because the rattle can version of Macragge blue is a slightly different tone than the actual physical paint bottle version of it. So even if you try to clean up mistakes that you made after the fact, you'll still see a slight tone difference. Most people won't notice it. I notice it. It drives me crazy. That's like when my Krieg and my sisters and whenever I do my Cadians, I have rattle cans that I use for all of their big major vehicles as well. It just makes so much of that way simpler to do. It's good. Power sword sheath. There's not a lot of detail down here. Going on right there either, but we are going to just paint some detail in. Try to fill out the wings. All these golden hilts, details everywhere. Ugh. I'm just going to get the Aquila, the wings at the end of the sword too. Don't want to deposit too much down there. Right. We have a gold skull on the bolt pistol. Yeah. I do not paint everything like this. I have much simpler versions of all of my paint schemes that I use for the run-of-the-mill infantry, you know. Usually save this for special characters or things that I anticipate living longer than a turn on the table. Centerpiece models, things like that. You'd have to be actually crazy to want to paint an entire army of something like Imperial Guard in the heavy metal studio style. Emperor bless you. If you do, and if you have, then wow. I would love to see it. Okay. Just going to quickly gloss over it over here with the Gorgons of Fur. Make sure it's not pooling. We just want it to tint the surface of our model. That is it for the shade on the gold. No, you're absolutely crazy. There's so many like techniques and things that you can use to get models to look like super good. It's so unnecessary to have to go through that much effort for everything. Like, this is the kind of painting style that I would conserve for something more like Lord Solar Leontis. He would be a whole lot of fun to try to do like this, and I know he's going to be around. He's a big centerpiece model. Or like Gilliman, or Lionel Johnson, or any of the big name models that would just look really good like this. And it has a whole lot of resale value to them too. You end up trying to get rid of any of them. Okay. We got the Gorgons of Fur. There is a deeper shade level. There's not enough detail for that, so we're not going to be doing that. But if you wanted to, that would be black and Doomful brown mixed 1-2-1, and you would paint that directly into the absolute recesses of the model. But we are going to instead highlight with Storm Post Silver. This is the last step, so we're going to close this up. Gorgons of Fur is going away. Thank you for your time. And we're going back to our Storm Post Silver. We will only be edge highlighting the uppermost surfaces of all of this stuff. So not everything, just the very top corners of all of these things. And it's just going to be little dots too. We want to do a nice solid edge highlight. So for the shoulders, for example, do a little bit up here. Top of the skull. Our leaves here, and that's it. We're done with that shoulder. On to our next one. That's it. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's going to give it this really nice, like, sheeny kind of effect. So when you turn the model and the light's hitting it just right and you're looking at it, you can see the silver is going to shine on top of the gold. I'm going to do a run just over the top here. Don't want to overdo it. Just using the edge of the brush. Little dot here, little dot there. That's it, very conservative. Dot on the top of the skull. What do we have here? clean the brush so we're not dry. Get the tops of the killa on his chest. Bit on the outside of the wings. Tops of our wreath up here. Already kind of see what it is that I'm talking about. A little bit of shine, a little bit of sheen. Brings all the gold out. To our power sword. Just want to make sure that it looks like every little detail had at least a small amount of attention paid to it. Our bolt pistol, now the power sword. Brush again. Don't want metallics to dry into your brush, that will ruin them. Small metal flakes that make all these paints up are absolutely terrible. Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. The old ones used to be a lot better than the new ones. Had to try to learn and figure out a bunch of this stuff the hard way. People have not been very descriptive with what they've been doing over the years. I could probably go back and re-clean this up with some of the Retributor armor again. I think I did go just a little bit overboard with the Gorgunta fur, but that's okay. I don't really plan to use the bolt gun that often. Whatever. Okay. And that... Oh, one more piece. Let's get some edge highlighting here on this guy. It's drying. Just a little overboard there. I can thumb some of it off though. I think that's good. And we are we're done. We did it. Wow. So we will piece him together and get one final look at him. I don't think there's any transfer decals to be done on him. Oh, actually, you know what? I think there is. There is one to do on his shoulder, so we may do that very quickly. Let me pull up a photo of him real quick on the website. Always have a reference to. If you're trying to paint it like the GW Studio, there's no reason you should just have a picture pulled up somewhere. You're only hearing yourself otherwise. He has, what do you have on your shoulder? The Cadian gates. Which I think I've got transfer decal here somewhere. Oh, that's for the Krieg. Are you Cadian? Here you go. Alright. Cadian transfer sheet. First I'm going to apply a coat of put a coat of gloss varnish on the surface first. I could paint the gates, but why would I do that? Come on. I'm crazy, but I ain't that crazy. I'm not that deep. I use Vallejo's gloss acrylic varnish. I also have their satin and their matte. I don't know. I might have to call out tomorrow. That'd be something. You can explain it for me, right? Yeah. They'll understand. Oh yeah, of course. Yep, that's fine. Just want a little bit on the palette. There we go. Don't need a whole lot. Big bottle like this, not very expensive, lasts you forever. Get my workhorse brush for this. And there's no real deep secret to doing this. I mean, I wouldn't get it all over the place. You just kind of need to put it exactly where it needs to go. I'll water it down just a little bit. That way it's not too overpowering. Make sure there's no dust. We're going to apply our gloss varnish over the area where this is going to apply. And what this is going to do is it's going to prime the surface. It's going to protect the paint that's underneath of it already. We're going to apply Micro Sol or Micro Set, whichever one. I have them labeled because I can never remember. I wrote on the bottles. Whatever one it is that we put down first, we're going to put down a layer of that. We're going to let it dry. Then we're going to put down another small layer of that, and while it's still wet, we'll slide our water decal, our transfer decal onto it, let it dry again, and then we'll apply and reapply sets of Micro Sol or whatever the second set is. I usually, if I really want to make sure that it looks good, I will do that multiple times over the process of like 2 days to really soften the decal out and get it nice and flat. That way when we come back and we apply our final layer of varnish, which is probably going to be, I think I'm going to matte coat that, or maybe I'll just satin the whole model, whatever. I'm going to satin the whole thing. That'll bring all the tone and all the color back together, and you will not be able to see the transfer decal. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but if you don't do any of these kinds of steps, then you can see like this kind of like weird clear outline of it. This makes it totally vanish, so it looks like it's painted directly onto the model. This is the same process I used on my sister. You can't tell. It looks painted. Yeah, a lot of the varnishes and everything will last you a super long time. I do the entire models over with the varnish because I want to protect the paint and bring all the colors in line with one another so they have the same finish on them. But your little thing of hard coat, that'll last you a long time. When you get to airbrushing and you want to actually do like a whole armies and whole units and stuff like that, you want to clear coat all of them, then you'll probably get to a bigger bottle for that. So that's still drying. Guess I can cut out the decal that I want. See which size. We want the smallest one. This bad boy out, hopefully not mar my desk. you're still here with me. You've been here the whole time. Thank you very much. Appreciate you hanging out while I go crazy here. Crimson Bench. Usually keep like a little bottle cap or something around here to put some water into. I have one now. I can make one. That's entirely up to what kind of... Woo! That's okay. I can spill that on my lap on that. On what you're aiming to achieve, because different varnishes are going to have different appearances to them. That sister model that I keep showing off, that has been entirely matte varnished everywhere, and then I went in after the fact and picked out all of the metallic details and gave it a gloss varnish. So you have matte on the bottom, M-A-T-T-E, that is going to dull everything that you put it on. So that's more for like fabrics, that's for skin, painted surfaces, tile, whatever. And on the opposite end is gloss, where it's going to be super bright. It's going to be like it's been oiled up. So you could use that on stuff that you want to be bright, or if you want glossy tiles and stuff like that, that's what you would put that on. Satin is right in the middle, so you don't take too much of the luster away from the metallics when you put satin on it, and you have just enough matte to bring out the colors of everything else that's not metallic. So satin is like right down the line. It's my usual go-to on everything. I only do matte and gloss when I feel like I have to go above and beyond for one reason or the other. I have a pair of reverse tweezers to help me out with this. Get microsol and microset out. Where are you, microset? Here it is. Set is applied first, and then sol after that. Where are you, tweezers? Here you are. These are reverse tweezers, so when you squeeze them, they come apart. That way you can just grab the piece, and you don't have to try to pinch it and hold it in place, and it lets you relax your hand while you settle it into place. I take my brush and work it off onto the model. So I think my varnish is nice and dry. Touch a finger to it. We feel good. So see how nice and glossy this is. That's going to take away from the glossiness of the decal once we apply it to the model. So we'll paint some microset onto it. Don't need a lot. Just in the area that we want to apply it. That's it. Did see I have a little bit of paint on the end of the brush there. That wasn't very good. I'm gonna get that trapped under it. Okay. Yes, of course. Turn this bad boy over. It's the worst part. Come on. Don't embarrass me on my stream. Please. Hey, there we go. Alright. So to use the bathroom really bad right now, so I'm trying to be as careful as I can. Here we go. We're going to brush this onto the model somehow. Usually I have it resting on something. Okay, hold on. There we go. And we will brush it directly onto the model. Come on, come off. Are you kidding? What are you stuck on? Okay, woo! Dry our brush out. Gotta push it into place and have the dry brush drink all of the water and everything back off of it. And push it into position with our brush. Okay, she does not want to work. Right there yet. This wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have to use the bathroom as badly as I do. Hold on. Get more micro set. Wet the surface a little bit so it has something to cling to. Come on. Please. Oh. Is that it? So I gotta go over to the left just a little bit. Too much. Disarming a bomb right now. Alright, we're centered. I just need to bring it down. Let's go down. Come line up just a little bit more. Nope, you know what? That's perfect. Push it down. Try to get as much contact surface that I can. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. But you know what? I paid for the transfer decal. I'm going to use the transfer decal. We've got it square. It is not flat on the shoulder pad. That is okay. It's not going to be. That's what the micro sol is there for. So I'm going to stick this somewhere while it dries. I will be right back because I desperately have to use the bathroom. So watch that for me. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Be right back. All right. I return. Let's wrap this up. The micro set that should have dried by now. You could apply another coat of it if you want, as long as you're careful, but I'm not even going to mess with it. So I'll be going right to my micro sol. Sorry, hold on. Nope. I'm going to apply this over the decal. I'm not going to drown it in it because if you do that, it's going to start moving on its own. And that is not desirable. Just going to wet it. And that's it. Like I said, you don't want it to swim. You don't want to blob a whole bunch of solvent on it because that's all this is. It's just solvent. You want just enough. So what it's going to do now, it's going to soften that decal up. It's going to crinkle in and break down on itself so it will form to the surface of the round shoulder pad. I have to do this maybe 2 or 3 more times over the next day or so. But in the meantime, I'm going to very gingerly put our man back together here. And check. Thank you again for joining me, those of you who are still here. I hope you have had as much fun as I have had painting this model. You can tell I love doing this. Do not judge him by his base, as it is not done yet. Let's see. Will still be a little bit of the blue tag visible on him. That is a-okay. When he gets glued together, that won't be there anymore. It actually almost hurts a little bit to have to go back and do the plastic glue on him, only because I have to scrape the paint off in order to expose the plastic so that he actually sticks together. It hurts. Very careful, try to mix to position. Go. So I have to put his little pouches and everything on him. But this is it. With the exception of the base, this is our heavy metal studio style Cadian Castellan. What a fun guy. Get closer to the base. A lot of fun. I had a good time. Hope you did too. Some of the other people. Feel free to like, subscribe, follow, smash the bell, hit the button, break the box, run a mile, scream from the rooftops, whatever. You want to see more like this in the future? I'm on Instagram, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, everything, almost everything. I'm sure there's something obscure that I haven't put myself on yet. I post photos. I do live streams every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes on Sundays, if I'm feeling particularly motivated, I'll actually play the game. I don't have the setup for it right now. I did previously, but I do live games of Warhammer as well, so you can see the models that I paint here on the tabletop. Of course, you can't see all the details on those, but you'll know. You get a good enough idea. But thank you for joining me. You do not have to go home, but you cannot stay here. We'll see you next time on Crimson Page. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you for joining me, leadership. Hope I got that right. I say it every time, but I will have the Discord up and running at some point. When I do, it will be getting spammed in the channel and visible everywhere. Feel free to join the community, become one with the bench. Save a seat for